Today we're going to be making banana bread. Welcome back to Eatsy, where if we can make it, so can you, because it's Eatsy. Hello everyone, I'm going to try something a little different and actually do my voices right in this video rather than doing a voiceover later. So hopefully it works out. As the beginning of the video said, I'm gonna be making banana loaf. And how I make my banana loaf, I always use two bowls. I use a bowl for the wet ingredients and another bowl for dry ingredients. So let's start. This is 3 overripe mashed bananas. And into the mashed bananas, I'm going to put 1 egg, which like so. And I'm also going to put in to my so-called wet ingredients is 1 cup of golden brown sugar. My brown sugar was as hard as a rock when I brought it out of the cupboard, so this looks funny because I grated it with a cheese grater so I could still use it, but it'll be fine either way because it's going to melt when it's cooked. So 1 cup of golden brown sugar, or whatever brown sugar you have. And last but not least, this is 4 tablespoons of margarine, or if you want, you can do butter as well. Now this is our dry ingredient bowl. To start off, we're going to put in, this is 1.5 cups of flour, all-purpose flour. And then we're going to do 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So we're also going to have 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Like that. And I like to mix the 3 powders together so that when they're incorporated into the wet stuff, it all gets mixed together at the same time. So now, before you mix your wet and dry ingredients together, you want to do 2 things. One is to start preheating your oven to 350 degrees, and the other is that you want to prep your loaf pan. So how I do it, I always butter and flour my pans so that the loaves come out of them easily. And so what I do is I grab a piece of paper towel, fold it into a little square, and grab your margarine, and then just start lining the pan like this. And the other key thing is to make sure you get in the corners, because if your loaf sticks in the corners, then it'll rip the corner off and it won't be as pretty to look at when it's done. All the way up to the edges so that when the bread expands, it gets there too, like so. And when you're done with the margarine, then you take a little bit of flour and just toss that right in there. And then normally I do this over the sink so that if any flour falls, you can just rinse it down the sink when it's done. You just rotate the pan so that the flour coats it all over the place. So I'm gonna finish doing this over the sink, and then I will be back with the next steps. And there we are. You can see the shiny spot down there in the bottom that I missed a little section, but that'll be all right. So I have a prepared buttered and floured pan that we can set aside for now. And the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your wet ingredients bowl and grab your power mixer and mix all that together, and then start adding in your flour and your dry ingredients gradually after that. So I'm gonna mix this and then I'll be right back. And doesn't that look delicious? Sarcasm. So next after that is you're gonna grab your dry ingredients and you gradually add this to the wet ingredients. Again, I'm gonna do this when I'm not recording because I'm gonna move my phone so that I don't get flour fluffing up and getting my phone all covered with flour, and then I have to clean the lenses or something ridiculous like that. So once again, I will be back in a minute. And ta-da! It looks better than it did before. So, my oven just beeped at me, so I got perfect timing. But, I've decided that this kind of looks like a lot. So off camera, I went and prepared a second pan, and I'm going to start putting the dough in the one pan. And if I decide that it looks too big, because I don't want like a really big fat loaf, I will put it in the second pan. And if I don't use the second pan, no harm done, you just throw it in the dishwasher. The wonders of modern technology. At this point, if you want to, people can put like walnuts or pecans or whatever the heck kind of nuts. I don't know why anybody would want to ruin good banana bread by putting nuts in it, but I sure as heck am going to put half a cup of chocolate chips in there, because you cannot go wrong with chocolate chips. So we're going to fold this in, and then the next step will be adding it into the pan. I'm going to put about as much of half of this as I think I can get in here to see what that looks like to me. And maybe I'll put it all in one pan, maybe I won't. Let's see how it goes. Well, I don't know, what do you guys think? Put the rest in there? Just scrape the bowl down. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it all in one. I prepared that second pan, but that's what dishwashers are for, right? And this mixture, or this recipe, it does make a rather thick dough, but at 350 degrees we'll be putting this one in the oven for about an hour, 60 minutes. And so you can always just do the toothpick test to make sure that it's done completely in the center. And throw it in there for 10 more minutes if need be, if it's a little thick in the middle. Oops. So last but not least, if you want to, this is I saw a picture on the interweb somewhere of another lady that did this, and I liked it ever since. So if you have another banana kicking around, I'll just cut it into slices and poke it into the top of your bread, like this. And it just gives it a little extra something when it's done. I think it's a little fancier. But like I said, this is completely optional. It's just to make the bread look pretty when it's done coming out of the oven. So like I said, you'll set your oven at 350 degrees and take your loaf, put it in the middle rack, and our timer will be 1 hour. And as mentioned, because this is quite a thick dough, we just check it with the toothpick test after an hour to make sure that it's done all the way through. So I will see you guys back again in 1 hour. And look at this thing, you guys. This thing is puffed up like an inch higher than the pan, inch and a half. It's kind of ridiculous. So that's making me wonder if this thick batter is actually finished on the inside. So let's give it a quick toothpick test. And came out clean. So let's give it one more down on the other side. And that one still has stuff on it. Yeah, I can feel it with my fingers that it's still sticky. So I'm gonna put this bad boy back in the oven for another 10 minutes or so. Okay, back 10 minutes later, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see it on camera, but it does look a lot better. This part in here is starting to get all brown and golden now. Yeah, it looks more well done in real life than it does on camera. So let's give it another poke. Oh, got it straight through a chocolate chip. Let's try that one again. Through here. Looks good. Let's do one more. Let's try one here. Looks good. That's a little bit of banana on there. Alrighty, so it looks like because I put it in, I think if I had put it in 2 pans, 60 minutes would have been more than enough. But because I put all the dough in a single pan and it's risen so much, it took about 70 minutes to get this all cooked instead of 60. So let me put some gloves on and grab a rack, and we will dump this bad boy out so that it can cool and we can give it a slice off the end. Hopefully it'll come out easily. Perfect. Just like that. That's the benefits of well greasing or well buttering and flouring your pan at the same time. Your loaf will just like pop right out of there. So I'm just gonna let it cool down for a little bit more, and then let's grab a knife and slice into it. Fun fact, I got this fancy cutting board as a Christmas gift from one of my former bosses of the company I used to work at. He went to our local artisan markets and he would buy things from local makers, and then he'd buy like 15 cutting boards, and then he would build Christmas gifts for all his employees. So this is a locally made board that I got from an artisan here in Canada. So fun story, but oh my god, it's perfect. Look at that. Let's do another one. A little bit crusty on the top for being in the oven for 70 minutes. Oh my gosh, but it looks amazing. So I hope that you guys found this a little bit entertaining, and I apologize for all the mistakes in my voiceovers right as I'm doing this. Let me know if you try this recipe and how it turns out for you, or if you have any other preferences for your banana bread. Are you one of those crazy people that ruins it by putting nuts in it? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and subscribe and give a like if you want to.